Yo, welcome to another video, guys, on Apex Legends. It's your boy Fat Dumpling. Got a guide video, so let's get straight in. So, tip number one is play behind cover. Now, cover is something that everybody has in Apex, unless you're running out on the field naked with no armor. And it's something that you should definitely use. At the end of the day, Apex and most games like this is about managing situations and just making sure you're on top and using tools or cover in this situation to help manage those situations and come out on top, essentially. So just be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that you're using the cover to your benefit and your advantage. I was, let's say, chilling, not camping, chilling in that spot for about, let's say, 5 minutes. No, I'm joking, not 5 minutes, maybe 30 seconds. And especially in these 3v1 situations like I was just in, just make sure that you finish the players off, just so you don't have the second person reviving while someone's pushing you. And I like to use this peekaboo sort of tactic where I fight someone, try and finish them off, and then just hide behind cover like this, get a shield off, get some health off, just so I'm prepared to into the next one. And as you can see, someone's trying to push me. Just I'm about to throw my gas. But there we go. Again, she's playing behind cover. Now I'm going to try to use a flank. Again, using the cover to my benefit. And then boom. And then again, you'll see here, I use this orange cone as a little bit of cover, just so I can confuse her, and then I managed to take her down. Now, I'm using her as bait. I don't want to finish her off because I know there's another teammate coming. And again, I'm still using cover, still behind this supply bin, just to make sure that I'm safe and I can heal effectively and quickly without getting shot at. Now, this was not an effective use of cover by the Bangalore, as I had a digital threat, unfortunately, for her. Now, this is another situation where cover is really good. Just messing around with your enemy, essentially. Just getting into their head and messing about and playing with them. So I managed to get a little drop on this crypto, so he wasn't prepared at all. And again, you see how I used cover to play around and mess around with it. Now, a side tip is slide backwards. As you can see, I'm completely in control of the situation, but I'm just jumping backwards and sliding backwards, essentially. Now, tip number two, which is divide and conquer. Now, this is all about 3v1 situations. Now, I was in a 3v1 situation trying to get my teammate back. I didn't manage to, just because I was quite occupied and busy. But as you can see, I managed to get the first guy down. So again, finishing him off, making sure that he's not a problem. So it's down to 2v1. Don't have to worry about that variable. And then give them a little splash of damage. And again, I'm using cover, making sure that I'm messing around with them, playing around with them. Managed to take one person down again. And sometimes what I like to use them as bait to see how skilled and how experienced this player is. I'm listening, hearing, and just using that cover around them. So I see he's walking down this way, so I shred him from that way, make him think that I'm coming from that way again, but no, using cover as a flank and dividing the team and conquering them, as you can see. Now, tip number three is the listening. Listen to the sounds. Now, this is one of the reasons why I love Apex so much. It's so polished. Like, the devs have got everything dialed in to near perfection, essentially. Everything is polished. Now, sound is one of the most important things in any shooter game, essentially, if it's done well, that is. And Apex has certainly done it well. And you can get so much information just by what sounds you can hear around you, essentially. Now, what I would suggest is, if you have a speaker set up, try and get a left and right audio channel sorted out so you have stereo sound, so you can distinguish what side of the room, I guess, or what direction the enemy's coming from, essentially. Even better if you have a headset, just because you get a more immersive feeling. There are really good headsets for not that much money nowadays. So definitely do invest in that. Just gives you a lot more information, especially since Apex has got everything dialed so well. You can really determine what's going on. So if it's a res, if someone's trying to push you, you can hear their footsteps. Someone's trying to recharge their batteries or their shields. You can hear so much, and that's what the difference is between Apex and Warzone, for example. Currently, it's just that Warzone sound is just so crazy. It's just not very fine-tuned. You'll be walking down the street thinking that the enemy's in the next building because you hear gunshots and you hear bombs and grenades, but they're literally a mile away. So it's just that make sure that you're aware of what's going on. Now this guy is doing a finisher. What I suggest you guys do is try playing Apex without sound for an hour, and then play Apex with sound for an hour, and see how much better you're gonna get. It's literally so important, just so you know what's going on around you, and then you can make decisions and manage that situation. Information is power. Now we've got our next tip here, which is aggression. Now, I'm quite an aggressive player, I would say. Cautious but aggressive at the same time. Now, when I hear those shields break, I'm going to be the first one to come down and peacekeeper you, essentially. So, a lot of people tend to be scared and flustered. Use it against them. They're going to be running away from you. They got their back open. They can't fight you. Sweep them up and finish them. Now, tip number 5. Now, this is short range weapons and finishers. Now, what I mean by that is not finishers as in hold X on Xbox and you do a finisher, but finishing weapons. So like anything that's got a hammer point, or any close range weapon like a shotgun. Now I see a lot of people taking snipers into late game. If you can, swap out for any of the meta short range weapons like the R99 for example, or any hammer point weapon. I like the P2020 hammer point. You get 18 with a purple mag, and it's crazy. It's like crazy. Just think of it this way: if you have 2 short range weapons and you're in a smaller environment and it's going to be a lot more intense, it's quicker to swap your weapon than to reload your primary short to mid range weapon. So there we go, and there you go, a little bit of paprika. So number 6 is a light one, just something quite cool that I see quite a few people do. Couple questions people ask me is all gold everything. Now if you see a gold weapon, take it. Just play with it and just try it out, essentially. Something like the Mastiff for example, or even the Kraber, some people can be quite scared by it, but take it, check it out and try it. That's what the firing range for as well. These weapons are there for a reason, simply because they're overpowered, but that's the whole point of them. If you get them, you're lucky, pick them up. Now tip number 7, our last tip for today, is all about the high ground. Essentially, get to high ground. Now Apex is so good because you have so many platforms of play, if that makes sense. So many different floors, essentially, whether it's a slope on a hill, whether it's in buildings, different levels of building, or whether it's up a hill or a mountainside. Get to high ground. High ground will give you a lot more vision, so you can see what's going on. You're able to communicate, and in this whole clip I was communicating with my team, let me know who was there, whether to push, whether to come back. And as you can see, if I was downstairs on the ground floor, I would have not seen this little lifeline and she could have taken me out, but luckily I was able to see her, and then boom, sprinkle of sauce. Now that was it for today's video, guys. Thank you very much for joining me and watching me. Hopefully these tips will help you in the next games. Got a lot more coming in the near future, so stick around. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good day.